The Federal and Velevin Hypermarket jointly present the Thuthukudi Marathon 2024 to raise awareness on drug abuse. The event is co-presented by Edison Cardio Care Center, Tiruchendur, powered by L. Anand Jewelry and St. Mother Teresa Engineering College, Thuthukudi.
Inflation. We hear about it a lot. But why do we measure it? Countries measure inflation to understand their economic health and see how it impacts everyday life. And the most common way to do it is through the Consumer Price Index or CPI. It monitors changes in the prices of goods and services, giving us a snapshot of how prices are moving over time. Now, what the government is looking to do is change the way inflation is calculated. Wonder how? Imagine your monthly budget is 1000 rupees. You spend it on everything you need groceries, bills, and more. In this basket, food and related items often take up a big chunk. Currently, food and beverages make up 54.2% of the CPI basket. Reports suggest that a union government panel is considering cutting the weight of food in the consumer price index basket by up to 8 percentage points. Non food inflation has been low for the past 15 months, around 2.3%. Core inflation, which excludes food and energy, is also low at about 3%. However, food prices have been more volatile, affecting the overall inflation rate. So, to ease it out, the government wants to reduce the share of food in the basket. It's just paperwork, you see. In reality, your spending might not change. It's just that the government would not consider your full spending while calculating inflation.
Lowering of the share of expenditure on food in the case of a household need not necessarily come from household having attained food security. It could simply come from the fact that non-food items prices have risen so fast. For example, if you're in an urban settlement and rents rise fast, school fees rises fast, consumer health expenditure rises. So people cut back on food. I mean, it's a very tragic thing. It's not a reflection of an a willful choice, a freely made choice uh, from food to non-food. So a decline in the share of food consumption in total expenditure, which is to be expected generally when development occurs. In countries like India, in a particular context like now, these may very well reflect the much higher costs.
It's important to note that the government provides free ration to about 80 crore people. Yet, high food inflation still hits the poor the hardest, as food takes up a large share of their spending. According to the Indian Express, the bottom 20% of the population faces nearly 50% basis points higher inflation than the top 20%. India's chief economic advisor V. Anantanageshwaran has suggested that the central bank's inflation target should exclude food. However, several economists argue against this approach, saying it's not suitable for India.
Then you see the problem is because we have a heterogeneous population with different patterns of expenditure, and a lower rate for food in the overall index might be consistent with the spending patterns of the well-to-do, but it won't be consistent with the spending patterns of the poorer section. So they will not be adequately represented in the new scheme, and so it's a kind of implicitly biased against the lower income groups.
India already struggles with malnutrition and stunting. The Niti Aayog's Multidimensional Poverty Index report in 2023 shows that 14.9% of Indians are categorized as poor, with nutrition deprivation contributing around 30%. Reducing the food weight in the CPI might give a sense of inflation under control, but in reality, it does nothing to ease the common man's burden.
The Federal and Velevin Hypermarket jointly present the Thuthukudi Marathon 2024 to raise awareness on drug abuse. The event is co-presented by Edison Cardio Care Center, Tiruchendur, powered by L. Anand Jewelry and St. Mother Teresa Engineering College, Thuthukudi.